is we are recording this meeting. This is a community information session. So we're going to give you, go through a slide deck for you, make a presentation, both myself and I believe Bob will. And then we are opening up for questions and comments, and the meeting is yours to contribute. And we'll go as long as we have to, as long as people are speaking. So I will start. Obviously, we have a June town meeting on the 3rd and an election on the 12th. So that's those are key dates for you. What we're going to be showing you is the building as it was designed and voted at the June 21 town meeting, when we voted to spend $18.85 million. So there's been little to no change at all in the design. There have been some minor materials changes, but that's it. So the design is a change, is the same, the purpose is the same. It's a flexible space community center designed to do over 60 different types of functions in the building. Obviously, they're not done all at the same time, but the building would be managed. So, but the building can accomplish and do a lot, which is very, very important. And some of those things, just so you know, that can be done, is anything from book clubs, tutoring rooms, conference rooms, bake sales, reading rooms, group lunches, group dinners, group breakfasts, special events, birthday parties. There'd be board games, crafts, arts and crafts, family gatherings. You can do cornhole tossing, cooking classes, language classes, dance classes, half-court basketball, 2 pickle courts, martial arts, indoor walking, badminton, soccer practice, lacrosse practice, all kinds of things. So it's a very flexible space. This is the picture that you're looking at now is the view from Springdale and Center Streets at the building and the design that will be done. Next. This is what I call the back, but it's the parking entrances from this area. It's also, you can see the community room opens out into a sort of a porch area. There could be all kinds of events there that you could have. When I think of concerts in the common, maybe then be moved to here. I don't know, but they could. So there's lots of opportunity. We have a lot of green space. I think it fits in very well with the town hall and the community center because there is a lot of green space. I think the buildings are all very compatible to each other. You're looking at a building, it's a brick building, so it'll fit in extremely well. Next. This is the entrance from the parking lot. So people will be parking sort of in back of me as I'm talking, and there's also be potential, depending on Article 2, for a recreation court, swing set. So in this area. So this is the back entrance. Just to the left, as you go into that entrance, is the Park and Rec offices. Out of that office, I assume the building would be managed, depending on the type of management they have. To the right, that window is a cafe, and then to the right of that is the community room. The building to the left, where there are no windows, where the tree is that's the recreation court. Next slide. This is the entrance into the building, and why don't we go into it, Ruth? Can we walk in and see what's going on? So as we come in, this is the main entrance. There will be a desk there where people will register when they come in. It's important that we are able to keep track of who's in the building and where they're going and how many people are going to what room. So we'll now be able, I think, very efficiently being able to track going on in the building at all times. There'll also be somebody there who will give you information if you don't know where to go or what to do or what time an event is. So that would take place there. And then back of that is the Park and Recreation building. And we'll go up. We're not going to go upstairs, but I'll describe that a little later. Okay. Again, now we're going to go back into the building from the parking lot. So you park your car or you get a drop off and you'll come in through this entry. We should have music. Again, you come into the same place that you would if you came in the building from the front. Going to the right, down the car to the right, where that person is going, the father, I guess, with his child. You go down that corridor and to the left is the recreation room. In that recreation room, it's quite a big building, quite a bit bigger, excuse me, than what's currently there. It's big enough for 2 pickleball courts. And as I said, half-court basketball, etc. So that's there. And then across the way from that building is what we call a gathering room. A gathering room is like a library. People, you can go in and read. There can be card games in there. So that's adjacent to the Council on Aging suite. So that their suite is all in this area. If so, why don't we go to the next slide? We're now going from the community room through the cafe, where you could go meet your friends or make new acquaintances in the cafe space, and then into the community room itself. To the right, it goes out to the green area where there's a patio out there. This is functional room. It can be movie night, it can be dances, it can be lunches for people, dinners, private parties, whatever. I think that this room will probably get an awful lot of use. Larger meetings could be in here. The sound will be great, so we will be able to hear people. There's a lot of advantages to it. Off to the left, you'll see a gentleman standing up at a counter. Behind that counter is a kitchen. It's a small full kitchen. It's not gonna, it can be used for cooking classes, but probably not for serving large gatherings. So that's this room. Now, before we go there, let me go upstairs in the building. On the upstairs in the building, when you get to the top of the stairs, there's a kids' play area. So while moms and dads or guardians have children doing in the building, they'll be able to go in there. The kids will be able to play rather than just running around the building. Also, there is the flexible space, which is a room that can be divided in half for meetings. It can be used for all kinds of other things, arts and crafts, games, computer programming, whatnot. And then there's also a conference room that you could use for business or private meetings, or actually both of those meeting rooms could be used for various committee meetings, especially in the evening for the town. So we're had added committee space. And then there's a movement studio, which is a flexible floor, which can be used for dance classes. It can be used for aerobic activity. So that is in the second floor looking down. That pretty much completes the building tour. After that, we look at the costs, and I can turn this over to Bob. But basically, in June of 21, we had a town meeting where we approved basically this design has stayed the same, and it's an $18,850,000 we thought was going to be the cost, and that was estimators, but that was before the economic situation hit us. We had funded in that the ability to do construction drawings, which allowed us to go out for bids. And when they came back in June of 22, they were $3.3 million over. So we had to have a town meeting in there because we're now up to $22,150 to pay for that 3.3. It was decided that to wait a year. So that is exactly where we are now, June 3rd, 2023. The total cost of the building is $25.4 million. And that also increased another 3.3 for 6.6 million, which is what we'll be asking for at the June 3rd town meeting.
Yeah, well, thanks, Ford. Let me jump in here.
You got it.
The interesting thing here, folks, is that in March of 2021, we thought the project was going to cost something. We still thought the project was going to cost about $15 million. We were very surprised when the bids came in closer to $19 million. So that was kind of a shock to everybody's system. At the time that we talked about that, it was most of the increases were related to all the massive destruction caused by COVID. June 22 went up another 3.3 million. And at that point in time, the building committee was late with their documents. They had issues, they had problems when they were issuing the documents, and there was a problem with one of the low bidders at the time, which caused them to present to the BOS the increased costs in late June, early July, and the Board of Selectmen, listening to an awful lot of resident feedback, was strongly against having a summer town meeting to approve the funding, and that's essentially why that was canceled. During the period of time between say July and November, we went through a series of analyses to see if we could find ways of reducing the cost. And then we started the rebid process in January of 23. It went very smoothly. It went according to Hoyle, and we have the bid of 25,443,800. And when I talked with the OPM as well as members of the building committee, they were all saying material costs are still increasing, that labor availability continues to be a problem, and that project demand is currently quite high, all leading to cost pressures. Next, please. Next. So the big question of the day is, what is it going to cost the individual homeowner? This chart represents the cost to across the town. The home assessed value triggers on the left represent about 87%. So 87% of towns in Dover fit within that range of 750 to 2,750,000. For homeowners whose home is assessed value is $750,000, you can see that the cost will average over the life of the loan $114. It starts higher, like most mortgages, and goes down through time. For people whose home is assessed at $1,250,000, the average cost increase is $189. And again, you're seeing the same trend. For the $1,750,000, we're looking at $265 on average per year. For the $2,250,000, $341, and for the $2,750,000 home, $417 would be the average increase over the life of the loan. Next, please. So here's what it looks like: the actual borrowing, and the impact for a median house of $1,145,000. So the blue is Springdale, that's running off. The dark green is the $19 million that we approved in 2021. And that's mediated by $4 million of free cash over time to reduce the spike in debt and interest. And then the light green on top is the impact of the additional 6.6 borrowing. So then, and this is an interesting item. In the fall, the town is probably going to be asked to consider spending money to preserve 640 acres of Dover property owned by Hale Reservation. Hale has been talking to us for a couple of 3 years, maybe longer, about creating a permanent conservation restriction on those 640 acres. And they're looking to borrow $10 million. They're looking for us to fund that with $10 million. Hale is trying to create a pool of money to run their operations, and they've made the same offer to Westwood. So they're looking to raise $20 million from the two towns and put a permanent conservation restriction on those properties. So in fall, if we were to go forward with this, you could see the impact. So borrowing $10 million for a Hale Reservation conservation restriction, and John Jeffries ultimately will say a lot more about this probably at the town meeting, for $750,000 assessed value home. The average over the price of the loan will be $166 a year. The $1,250,000, it will be $276. For the $1,750,000, $387. The $2,250,000, $498. For the $2,750,000, $608 per year. Next. So same kind of chart. This represents the median house. And you can see again, the red is Springdale, the green is the original borrowing, the blue is Hale, and the lighter green is the 6.6 million. And really what it shows as we go through time is sort of the demand on the credit side of the town for projects that people would consider to be very, very important. Open space is one of the highest values of town residents, along with schools. And clearly there has been a lot of waiting for a community center to meet town needs. So this just gives a sense of what our borrowing profile will look like going forward.
That being said, I think we can open it up for questions.
I got one more.
Go ahead.
So the question that hasn't been answered is it was this question asked: if the town does not approve the 6.6 million additional spending for Carroll, what's plan B? And I think there's really, to be honest, I think there's just two alternatives. We investigate renovating the 1910 Carroll facility, or we investigate building a new facility, and it would take us back to where we were in 2018 when we did both those things. I mean, clearly the Board of Selectmen understand that the town is interested in a community center, and we will do what's necessary to make that happen. The question is, can we do it within the allocated budget, or the budget that was approved back in 2021? So there are questions about this. It's not straightforward. Investigate renovating the 1910 Carroll facility would mean that we'd have to take a look at, can the current architect's work be leveraged? Can approved funding be used for this particular purpose? It's clear that the design will need to be modified, but most community needs will be met. Investigate building a new facility would be probably involve talking with different architects. So that's kind of it for me.
Rachel, you have your hand up.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I apologize, I can only do audio. I'm commuting home from work and this is the best I can do. I have a couple of questions. First of all, thank you to everyone who has worked so hard to get the project to this point. I am deeply in favor of the community center being renovated according to the design. for many, many reasons and for benefit of almost every resident at every age and stage of their life of Dover. But I do have some questions. My first question is, I saw the table that showed the tax increase to cover for the 6.6, but could we have information? I don't expect you to have it in this moment, but could you present information on the tax impact of the total project on taxpayers?
Thank you, Rachel. Bob?
I'm looking at what we have. So the tax impact on the slide, Rochelle, it would be,
Yep.
it would be the two greens added up. So you can see in 2023, we were looking at $200 for the average house, for the median house. And then it jumps to 250 or close to 250. And then it jumps on the chart to about 375 and then ultimately tops out at 450. So that really is the impact to the person, to the homeowner with the median assessed home.
So the median, so the average,
The average,
median impact.
median, yeah, 1.1455 is the median
Okay, so
house.
that across the life of the loan, the impact on the taxpayer of the median size priced or valued home is how much per year, average?
Well, for the 6.6 million, I don't know, you'd have to extrapolate between the 175
Yeah, so
and the one.
I guess I think it would be helpful, and you don't have to do it in this moment, but I think it would be helpful for taxpayers to know the total impact.
It's already done.
done.
It's
Maybe
already
I
done.
just can't see it
You
because
just
I'm
can't see
driving.
it.
Excuse me,
Yeah, no,
John.
actually, it is done. It's
You
just
guys are
that
talking over each other.
we have a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet that shows the information, but it would be way too much for presentation purposes.
So could you just tell me what's the average annual increase for the whole project to the homeowner with an average or median priced home?
I can't do it right now, no.
Okay. My second question, and I'll be brief. My second question is, I think a lot of residents, at least that I've talked to, were frustrated that we didn't move quickly enough as a town to try to go to town meeting to try to get approval for the original bids that came in 3.3 higher. And now we see another 3.3 because of the time that passed. Can you explain why that we couldn't make that move to capture those prices?
Yes, there was a great deal of pushback by the town not to have a special town meeting in July of 2022. And so the Board of Selectmen decided that if you're voting on a community center, it would be important to have all members of the community could have an opportunity to vote at a meeting. Since there are a fair number of people who go away in the summer homes, vacations, et cetera, we did not think that we should have a town meeting because people would be disenfranchised because they were away. So the question came up, we voted no to have a special town meeting in July of 2022.
Bob, can I add a couple other things to that?
Sure, John.
Michelle, this is John Jeffries from the Board of Selectmen. There are other issues that went into that decision that were specifically made during the time that the Board of Selectmen took into consideration, specifically the dramatic spike in pricing. So we looked at lumber pricing, we looked at labor pricing, we looked at the cost of metal, all that which dramatically spiked at the time. We were told by, amongst others, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, that this inflation and this inflation spike was transitory and would subside. And in lieu of those things, and with also listening to the contractors and the bidders, they had made many comments that labor costs were higher. They were spiked in labor costs. There were spikes in supply chain. There were disruptions in the supply chain that many people at the time thought were temporary. Specifically, again, those costs of commodities. Cost of commodities went up dramatically and came down dramatically. So in hindsight, it was absolutely the right thing to do. Specifically, in just following up with Bob's comment, we were given, the Board of Selectmen was given an $18 million charge by the town in the vote of town meeting. We were not given additional money over and above that. We felt it was mandatory that if we were looking at increases, it was your decision, not ours.
Yep. Understood. I guess just to a point Bob said, I heard a lot of people talking about wanting to try to have a chance to vote on that first bid before it expired, but at this point it's water under the bridge. I want to ask my third question and then my final question, which is, have we explored any other options for funding any additional portion of the building, such as federal or state or local grants or any other sources of paying any of these costs besides taxes?
Yes, we actually have a green communities grant of $500,000, and we have money from the American Recovery Act. I think that's about $1 million that will ultimately be used to mitigate some of the costs.
In addition to that, again, Rachel, this is John Jeffries. In addition to that, we, this Board of Selectmen, through our local legislative help and our federal legislative help, we've applied for a total of $6 million of grants, but specifically those grants are for the Willow Street Bridge Dam project, the Claybrook project, and Center Street Bridge. We have applied for everything that we could, as Bob alluded to, through capital budgets with the help of Barry and with the help of Ford and Ruth. We have been diligent in looking at all avenues that are open to us, but specifically the large money that was available is available right now. It has specifically to do with roads and road infrastructure, not with community centers.
I see. So you feel you've done the due diligence and exhausted those possibilities?
We are beating every bush as you speak and as you breathe.
Okay.
There's no bush that goes unbeaten.
Okay.
Maybe a tree. I don't know about it. It could be a tree that we haven't looked at.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's
Rachel?
reassuring. That's very reassuring to know that, you've explored that, and I thank you for that work. And that's the end of my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. I know Park and Rec is here and wants to make a presentation in Article 2, but before we get to that, any other comments or questions about Article 1? And I can't see you all because I don't see pictures, and so if there is, you got to raise your hand or speak up or do something. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none. Why don't, who's going to do a presentation in Article 2? Chris?
Yep, thanks, Ford.
So before you guys start, Ford, I'm going to have to go.
Okay.
Thank you all. Thank you all for attending. Show up on June 3rd and vote your conscience.
Ford, could you make Mark co-host, please, so he can share his screen?
Yeah, just bear with me. I got to find you, Mark. There you are. There you go. Just before Mark starts, this Monday, we're going to have another community forum at 10 a.m. It'll be in the morning. It'll be on Zoom. I do know that I think through the Council on Aging, there's going to be an opportunity for those that have trouble with Zoom or don't have the technology to go to the Dover Library, to their meeting room, and they'll have it on the screen, so they'll be able to participate there. So that will be our second meeting, and that's really it for community meetings. I did speak to a council on aging lunch the other day. There were roughly 30 people there, so that was good. If anybody wants any other kinds of contacts with us, contact either Ruth Townsend or myself, and we'll try to accommodate. But that's where we are right now. Chris or Mark?
Thank you, Ford. Yeah, I'm Chris Boland, Chair of the Park and Rec Commission. And first, I want to thank Mark and Nicole for putting this presentation together on short notice. And I just want to make sure, set everybody's expectations. We do not have any animation because this was put together so quickly. So the bar has been set pretty high. But I think we have a pretty good couple slides here we want to take you through. So thank you for your time. Mark, next slide, please. So the goal today is to talk about an additional article, and we're going to cover, you know, the opinions and feedback of you, the community, as well as the benefits of outdoor. This is about our outdoor recreation, the benefits of outdoor recreation, and why we need this outdoor recreation space. So when we're talking about in particular, the article, I should preface, we are asking an Article 2 for $174,000 for an outdoor hard court or recreation court and or surface and a swing set. And these are two items that are currently in place that were part of the community center for the last 20 years. And we are hoping to have part of the community center going forward. So the opinions of folks, you know, what they've told us, they want to develop a community center that meets the needs of all the residents. And we want to improve both indoor and outdoor recreation areas to provide a wide range of year-round activities across all age groups. You know, one of the things I will mention just related to that is we learned quite a lot. Everybody learned a lot of things from the pandemic. One of the things we learned was how important outdoor recreation was. We kept the summer program going during the worst part of the COVID pandemic for the children. And I think it was really one of the best things that we did. And so it just underscored the importance of outdoor recreation, not just inside of a building. So as this slide points out, some of the benefits of outdoor recreation: encouraging physical fitness, opportunities for outdoor recreation in an unstructured setting. It's just going to be a surface and some swings. Strengthening community and family bonds, opportunities for residents to gather together for events, programs, leisure activities. Park and Rec runs a lot of programs, but there's also going to be open time available. So it's a very good space for that. And of course, building social skills. And, you know, this is old school social skills, not new school social skills, but the opportunity to enhance play in a setting, meeting new neighbors and communicating with fellow residents. We think that's really one of the things. If you saw the beautiful presentation that Ford and Ruth did, you see a lot of images of people being outside. That's what we want to see. And this is going to enhance that. So why we think this is important. Vital for unstructured play and socialization. Comprehensive summer programming. We do a lot of outdoor recreation is an integral part of summer programming. So that'll be one of the things that will really benefit here, especially in the summer. Space for events, outdoor movies and concerts. You know, we do concerts on the lawn right now and events. We could also do events on this hard court surface. Opportunity for family members to remain on site during programs. Think of, you know, the spouses with the children at the swings or on the court while the other spouse is inside at an activity or outside at an activity. But that allows for that that kind of outlet space, which is very important, particularly for children, but really for everybody. Accessible for outdoor COA, coffees, luncheons, and barbecues. Everybody, again, appreciates the outdoors after what we've been through. We want to take advantage of these opportunities. Drop-in programs and open play recreation time. A safe, supervised area for older children to explore independent play. I think that's a fancy way of saying, you know, more unstructured time for the kids. Increase event options for all age ranges, old, young, 2 to 92, everybody can participate in this. This isn't just for the kids. And after school programming for 20 plus participants, you know, that will certainly help. If we can have more spaces, we can lower those wait lists. The wait lists are pretty significant. And of course, the ability to run multiple programs at one time. These are all some of the benefits that we'll get if we have this space. Is that it, Mark? Was there anything else? So thank you all for the low price of $174,000, which has not been factored into the analysis that you just saw, but we think is really of critical importance to the community opportunity here in the town of Dover. Thank you.
Any comments, questions, concerns? Excellent. Then we'll move on. John Jeffries, do you have anything you want to say about Article 3?
Sorry, Ford, I was muted. No, we don't have a presentation this evening on Article 3.
Okay. Does anybody else want anything to say before we end the meeting? If not, want to thank you all for coming. Hope this was helpful. As we said, this meeting has been recorded. It will be on the website for you to see. And again, there'll be another one on Monday at 10 a.m. We are continuing to put through social media, thanks to Ruth, information out on the web as well as on the town website. So that we look forward to seeing you also on June 3rd. I do know that those with families, I think Park and Rec is going to be able to have some assistance out there to take care of young children. Is that right, Mark?
Yes, Parks and Rec is running a free program during town meeting at the high school. So yes, we will be on site. It does require pre-registration, but it is free for all residents.
Great. So please talk to your friends and neighbors. As you know, as a selectman said earlier, we want to have as many people there as we can, all kinds of demographics. And so this is our chance to perhaps make a final decision on whether we're going to proceed further or not with this, with the community center. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you, Ford. Thank you, Ruth. Thanks, Chris. Good night, everyone.
Night, everybody.